Hey, uh, didn't know that you were gonna be here. I'm DJ Jor-El. I am currently getting ready to go get some comic books because today is May 2nd and it's Free Comic Book Day. And this is my shelf here. You can kind of see that I got all my nerdy stuff, my Batarangs, my Wolverine claws, and my growing collection of comic books. I'm gonna go get my free books and a couple books that I've been meaning to pick up for that collection, and then I'm gonna come back and I guess since you're here, I'll show you what I got. So make yourself comfortable, and yeah, I'll see you soon. All right, we are back from grabbing our books. This was my first free comic book day that I've ever actually done. I got up on a whim, realized that it was free comic book day, and was like, hey, let's go get some books. The way that Buy Me Toys does it, which by the way, highly recommend if you haven't been to Buy Me Toys, go to buymetoys.com in Mishawaka. That's where I get all my books. But how they do it is once they let everybody in, everybody lines up, and you kind of basically go in line around the perimeter of the store. You can pick up books that you want to purchase, and then they have the books that are free laid out, and everybody gets 5 books a person on Free Comic Book Day. I had my option of comics to choose from. They had a lot of books to choose from, ranging from kid comics to the stuff that everybody reads to the more mature adult story comics that a lot of people get into nowadays. I had to pick 5 books. It was a hard pick, but I picked 5 that interested me. I also grabbed 3 books that I paid for also today. 1 book that I was I'm going to get regardless, and 2 books that I got on a whim. I'm just going to go through and show you guys the books I got for free first, and then I'm going to go into the books that I paid for, starting with this little gem that I picked up. This is the Will Eisner, a comics biography by Stephen Weiner and Dan Mazer. I am terrible with pronouncing names, so sorry if I mispronounce creators' names. It will probably happen a lot. I just thought that this was really interesting. Will Eisner, if you aren't aware, is probably the father of the modern graphic novel. He was the one that put his work out there and inspired and basically got the comic book industry and the public to look at comic books and comic art like this as a legitimate art form, and not just like the Sunday funnies and funny papers you see in comic strips. Will Eisner is a really one of foundational in terms of graphic novel storytelling, and I just think that this was a cool idea. It's basically just like his biography in comic book form, essentially. And this art looks amazing. It's very caricature-y, beautiful looking first issue of a graphic novel that I'm probably going to end up buying the actual book now. Once I dive into this. I should say too, I haven't had a chance to read these books yet. I'm literally fresh from the comic book shop, just showing you guys what I got today. This wasn't the first book that I grabbed. It was the last free book that I grabbed, but I thought this was a really cool book to start with talking about. And on the back, just not for nothing, but they have, it looks like they've got one on the Disney Bros. They've got one on Hitchcock. They've got one on Philip K. Dick. So just a bunch of different graphic novel biographies of a very influential American artist. The second book that I picked from the pile, I'm actually kind of going in reverse order. So this was actually the second to last book that I picked. And this one was, again, the artwork kind of got me. Godzilla, The New Heroes, published by IDW. I'm a big kaiju fan. Godzilla is, Godzilla, the king of the monsters, right? I was in line with a gentleman. I didn't actually catch his name, but we were talking about comics and talking about just books and general pop culture stuff. And in the front of the store is a poster of a cover of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus Godzilla. So we were talking about Godzilla already, and they had a Godzilla book, and I was like, okay, look at that artwork. I gotta grab that. I can't lie and say that I've read a whole lot of Godzilla in comic form. I've read none of Godzilla in comic form, I gotta say. Just skimming through this book though real quick, it looks like a city with Mechagodzilla's head in it. This artwork is beautiful too. Not a whole lot to say about this one, except that it's Godzilla, and I was like, the artwork looks cool, and I like a Godzilla story, and the dude in front of me really kind of influenced my picks. I can't lie. Like, we were having some good conversations, and if we had not been talking about Godzilla beforehand, I probably wouldn't have grabbed this book. Moving on to our third pick, this was in the middle, like literally in the middle of the table. So, but it really caught my eye, and I've been looking at a lot of things surrounding this character lately, and I think maybe I need to dive in a little bit more because the lore seems fascinating to me. This is The Phantom, issue number 0 by Ray Fawkes and Russell Olson. I've only seen The Phantom a lot in passing. A lot of YouTube videos I've seen have The Phantom in it, and I've seen bits and pieces of the old Phantom movie with Billy Zane, but I've never actually watched it all the way through. The Phantom as a concept seems really interesting to me. A sort of a superhero lineage passed on from father to son, like a Black Panther, but it also kind of has more of a like a pirate and like swashbuckling kind of air to it. It's a goofy costume, which I've always been like, huh, it's kind of, I'm drawn to funny looking things. And I was just like, okay, maybe I'll give the Phantom a try. Russell Olson's artwork is pretty nice. I don't want to talk too much about the art for all of these books that I'm just kind of skimming through. I'm not gonna lie, like, pictures look nice, you got me. My taste in comic book art are very, like, your pictures have to be very specific for me not to think that you did well. But I will say that all the artwork in all of the issues that I've looked at so far, of the books that I picked up today, are different. Like, every artist is distinct. Here's just a good spread of, you know, like, that's the Phantom and a tiger. That's some good artwork right there. I love the use of purple. He's a very, like, you don't see a lot of purple as the predominant, like, overarching palette for superheroes, but this is just in your face. So there's no, like, there's no hiding from criminals or in the jungle. A lot of the Phantom story that this issue looks like takes place in the jungle. A lot of Phantom stories that I've seen be talked about or take place in the jungle. So there's just this big purple guy in a jungle setting is really weird, but I think can be very entertaining. I'm excited to read that one. So it's Free Comic Book Day. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't pick a whole lot of, my variety was very not Marvel. Marvel's been very hard for me to jump into. The storylines that they've been doing recently are like, I haven't found a point that I feel comfortable jumping in for the titles I'd want to, namely like Spider-Man and the Avengers books. I'm kind of like, I don't know where to start, I don't know where to go. But it's May. If I'm gonna pick a Marvel book, I'm gonna pick something that I really like, and I cheated. I went with a Star Wars book. I mean, you can't, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so there's no way I wasn't going to pick up a Star Wars something while I was there. And the shop has a lot of good Star Wars stuff. They got like lightsabers and helmets and a lot of cool action figures. I never think to look for Star Wars comics, and this cover really grabbed me. This splash page right here is pretty dope. It looks like this book is just a compilation of a different set of stories, because I see Luke here, and then I see there's a Vader and some Knights of Ren stuff going on here, it looks like. Just a big Star Wars preview comic. But it's still, you know, it's a Star Wars book. So for Free Comic Book Day, if I'm going to pick up something, I'm going to pick up stuff that I think I'm going to read. And I'll skim through this for sure. I'll definitely give this a read. Marvel's just been really hard for me to, aside from the movies and the TV shows and stuff and video games, I think they're just absolutely crushing it. If you try to get me to read a Spider-Man comic book or jump into any of the mainline Marvel books, the events that they do and the way that they tie their stories together, it makes it so inaccessible to new readers and also infuriating to longtime fans for some of the decisions that they've made with the characters that they're using right now. Marvel's a hard go. I've never been one to pick sides. I don't know if I've got my Spider-Man shirt on, I've got my lantern ring and my Flash hat, so I guess if it's 2 for 1, I'm more of a DC guy than I am a Marvel guy anymore. I mean, even though you can see Spider-Man's right back there, and my Wolverine claws next to my batarangs. The first book that I picked in the pile, and the last book that I'm going to show you guys that I picked up for Free Comic Book Day, is Absolute Power, the prelude to the DC event. I know I just said a lot of like Marvel's inaccessible because of the events that they have going on and stuff. DC, for some reason, whenever they do a big thing or they're about to do like either a relaunch or something that's really important for their universe, they're able to put books together that can get readers enticed into what's going to happen, but not necessarily needing to have the backstory of what's happened previously, like leading up to it. It's the prelude to one story with some bios for the characters in the, it looks like the main characters of the book, which the cover is, you see a character that looks very Batman-y, Amanda Waller, and what looks like a Brainiac, overshadowing the Trinity, are Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. I'm not exactly sure what this whole thing's gonna be about. But I've been really into the DC stuff lately. I've like so into the DC stuff that when we get to the books I bought, surprise, surprise, it's basically just DC stuff. Batman is my number one. I've always been a fan of Batman and his cast of characters. This artwork looks sick. This character's name is Failsafe. I was looking through the book here. I have no idea what that's about, but I mean, I was just talking about purple. He's got a lot of purple going on in there. So I'm excited to look through this. It says a prelude to the epic event. We'll see if I end up actually reading the event, if this is able to get me to start buying those books as they come out. So those were my 5 picks that I took for Free Comic Book Day today. I forgot that that this is a thing that happens. I woke up this morning, I got online, and I saw them make their post about it, and I decided, hey, I'm gonna grab some books. Today's the day, so might as well. Moving onward and upward. Regardless of it being Free Comic Book Day, I was planning on buying some books anyway. I've been trying to get back into comic books. If I'm gonna read, I'm gonna read stuff that I like. A good graphic novel is just as good as any like written novella. You know, the only difference is there's artwork and illustrations to go along with the words that are on the page, so your brain doesn't have to do as much of the imagining. There's some great stories to be told, and they're not all necessarily like superheroes and spandex and cosmic rays. Like some of them are actually just books about being human, books about, you know, doing better, books about like the world at large and like the things that go wrong and how it can make things go right again. The books I bought today are superheroes and spandex and sci-fi, and because those are the stories that I like. I had the intention of going in at some point, maybe not today, but I was going to pick up a book, and I went in and got my free books today and left with 2 extra that I wasn't intending on grabbing. The gentleman I was standing in line with for Free Comic Book Day was telling me about this line of independent stuff that he was reading. And this is an Image book called Ghost Machine. It's sort of the prelude, like the issue number 1 to the universe that they've started. And there's 3 main books that they have in the line. It's fascinating to me when you have characters or you have stories that aren't set in the big 2. Like if you're going to have me look at a superhero story and it's characters that are derivative of styles I've seen before, or characters like Batman or Spider-Man. If I'm going to read an independent book, it really has to grab me. But this guy, I wish I would have got his name, was so passionate about it. And I started looking at the artwork, like he pointed out to me. Once he told me about it, I noticed that the store had it posted on the walls. They had a video of it with the breakdown of the characters in the books. And I was like, okay, let's give it a shot. Ghost Machine is the publisher. It's a new creator-owned universe. So it's an Image comic book, but it looks like it's kind of spinning off to another like creative collective, which is kind of what the guy was telling me about. Jeff Johns is hugely involved in this. Like he's like at the center of this initiative that they have going on. This Geiger guy is really kind of the one that got me looking. The person who was recommending me the book was telling me about Rook, was the one that he was reading. But this Geiger guy looks interesting. He's kind of got like a Blight from Batman Beyond vibe to him, or Dr. Phosphorus from Creature Commandos kind of vibe. Let's see, there's Redcoat, who looks like he's a guy from like Revolutionary War times. Looks like it's going to be an interesting collection of stories to read from a diverse line of creators. It looks like this Ghost Machine, this new initiative coming out of Image that's going to have all these various creators. Let me just name off some more. Aside from Jeff Johns, there's Jason Fabok and Gary Frank, Brian Hitch, Lamont McGee, Francis Manupal, Brad Meltzer, Brad Anderson is a colorist. A few names that I recognize, but the main one being Jeff Johns. So if you're familiar with his work in DC, it looks like they've got some interesting stuff going on at Ghost Machine. So this is like their issue 1. Maybe check this out if you get an opportunity to. I'm definitely excited to kind of look through and read this myself. Okay, so our next book, the second kind of impulse one that I grabbed, is they've been making these, they're called the DC Compact Comics. So they're just small books. They're not as big as the regular graphic novel, and the paper's a little bit, it's not like as glossy, so it's not as high a quality as like the other books that I have been looking at today. It's collections of like their giant stories. The last time I went to buy me toys, I picked up Batman Arkham Asylum, A Serious House on Serious Earth by Grant Morrison. And today, on a whim, I picked up Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. The Supergirl movie's coming out. I really, really, really enjoyed Superman when it came out. This book is the inspiration for the Supergirl movie, and the Supergirl movie looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. This book's by Tom King and an assortment of others, but Tom King's real big in the comic book industry. He's done a lot of great work. And the artwork that I've seen just in this book from the pages that I've been scanning through and the things I've seen about it online, the artwork is just beautiful. It's essentially Supergirl and this other character going on a Star Trek, if you will, across the galaxy to avenge. It's like a revenge story. I don't know how heavily the storyline will be adapted into the new film and how much they're going to change. And again, I haven't read the book yet. It's kind of Star Wars-y from what I've been told. And it's a pretty big... Again, it's a pretty big book. Arkham Asylum is an actual graphic novel that they compressed down. This is the entire run of the comic book. So it is a big book. There's a lot of it to get through. It is one story, but because it was a comic book run, it is a little bit larger. So this one's going to be a little bit bigger of a read. I'm really excited about it. It looks really, really good. The artwork looks great. The story seems fun, and I'm really excited for the movie. So this is going to be some good homework before that movie comes out in a month or so. The final book that I'm going to talk with you guys about today. Guys, I've been getting back into comic books lately because I was reading about this line from DC called Absolute. It's their version of what Marvel Comics was doing, their Ultimate line of books. Absolute has been going strong for the better part of a year now. The book I was going to pick up and the one I went in to pick up today, it's Absolute Superman. Last Dust of Krypton is a storyline. It's essentially volume 1 of the comic book arc. I picked up the hardcover just because I was like, hardcover, sophisticated. Guys, these books, it's a breath of fresh air. Essentially, they've reset the universe, and all the heroes are not given the opportunities that they were given in the mainline DC universe. Batman wasn't a rich kid whose parents were killed. Wonder Woman wasn't like an Amazonian goddess. She's from like the underworld. And Superman wasn't sent to Earth as a child before Krypton exploded. He was sent to Earth as basically a preteen boy. He was going to go with his entire race of people, and something happens, and he's the last survivor of Krypton with this very cool AI kind of suit that's like made from the dust of his planet or something. I just picked up the book. I haven't read any of Superman yet. I only vaguely know what happens here and there because I've seen previews for it. But I've just been in love with these Absolute books. I also picked up Absolute Flash a couple weeks ago, and that's been a very fun read. We've lived with these characters almost 100 years, most of them, and it's time to kind of reinvent them and kind of restart the wheel, but to keep their core tenets of what makes the character the character. All these books have been doing a very good job of keeping them Batman, keeping them Superman, keeping them Wonder Woman, but telling fresh and exciting new stories with all the characters in new exciting ways. Some of it can be a little trite and the storylines can go a little quickly, but I've been enjoying what I've been reading so far of Batman and Flash, and I am very excited to hop into Superman. I've been on a Superman kick since the movie Superman came out last year. It was one of my favorite movies of the year. It is my number 2 Superman movie, second only to the Richard Donner film. I've been so excited with DC lately that I've just been anxious to read their books. Like, now that they've got this line of books that isn't bogged down by a lot of mythology as well. There's a lot that's going on behind the scenes that made the books the way they are, but it's not anything that you need to know going into them to enjoy them. You can just pick up the number ones or the first volumes and read the story from the beginning without layers and layers of stuff that bogs down the story and bogs down your enjoyment of it. It's not the Superman you're used to, but it still feels very much the Superman that you grew up with. Guys, that was my haul from Free Comic Book Day and the books that I grabbed that I decided to pay for as well. I've been toying with the notion, and I am not going to toy anymore. I'm starting a new series called The Culture Catch-Up. I'm going to start recommending comics that I grab every few weeks from Buy Me Toys, storylines that I pick up, number ones that I decided to take a chance on. And I'm also going to do some movie reviews and TV show reviews because I've been doing those on my letterbox for a while, and I've been looking for an excuse to do it like this. And I think I found a good jumping off point. It won't always look like this. I kind of did it off the seat of my pants today because, again, I was like, oh, I forgot it's Free Comic Book Day. This would be a good time to get some books and to get off my rump and to get started on what should hopefully be a fun little experience going forward for me and for everybody that maybe just looking for some escape and looking for some recommendations of maybe some books to read or some stuff that they maybe have been thinking about picking up and it's just kind of flown off their radar. I'm looking forward to doing that, and I hope you guys look forward to seeing that from me. My name is DJ Jor-El. Thank you guys so much again for just happening to be here today with me, and I will see you guys on the flip side. Have a good day.